Good afternoon and happy Wednesday. I'm Kara Rucker. Today marks the 10-year anniversary of the Sandy Hook massacre, and a shocking study reveals the dangers of being under the influence on roadways. This is your midday rundown aimed down the middle with Straight Arrow News. We begin with GOP leaders in the House doing the groundwork preparing for the gavel come January. Today releasing a list of 40 officials they plan to interview in their efforts to investigate the origins of COVID-19. That includes top senior Biden administration officials and top scientists. Dr. Anthony Fauci is among those expected to testify in the new year. Another prisoner swap, this time between Russia and Ukraine, resulting in the release of an American Air Force veteran who says he was subjected to torture, electric shocks, and beatings while being held in a basement in Russian captivity. 63 other Ukrainian prisoners of war were released. The veteran had been living in Ukraine since 2018 and was captured by Russian forces after it invaded Kherson. A United Nations Council will take a vote today on whether Iran should remain part of an international coalition that promotes gender equality and women's rights. The U.S. is leading the motion to try and remove Iran from the Women's Commission, just the latest rift between our two countries. Ahead of today's vote, Iran says their removal would prevent countries from different cultures from having a voice in international commissions. The U.S. says Iran's policies contradict the rights of women. A revolt is being led by protesters in Iran, spurred by the country's treatment of women. Iran recently publicly executing protesters.
The regime has rounded up and detained thousands of people for their involvement in these protests. Many of them now face harsh sentences, including the death penalty and sham trials that lack any due process. We denounce this draconian treatment in the strongest terms.
A large study from highway safety officials highlights the deadly consequences of being under the influence while on the roadways. The study found that more than half of people injured or killed in traffic collisions had one or more drug in their system, or they had alcohol above the legal limit. Not only were drugs and alcohol found in their bloodstreams, but so was THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, in 54% of car crash victims. The study authors say the use of substances are impairing drivers at a time when traffic deaths in the U.S. have risen dramatically in recent years.
It was a decade ago that 26 people were killed in our school, and I think that realization is starting to hit us. Like 10 years, that's a long time.
Today marks the 10th anniversary of the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre. 20 first graders and 6 teachers were killed in the attack. In the decade that followed, the Sandy Hook shooting would be just one of more than 900 school shootings in the U.S. The first grade victims at Sandy Hook would be in their junior year of high school. Today, people are pausing to reflect and remember a tragedy that struck the core of our country 10 years ago. What are Americans calling their #1 problem? It's not the cost of living, although that came in second. It's also not crime, gas prices, or the need for world peace. Our problem is with the government. That's according to a new Gallup poll where Americans voted the politics in our government as the #1 problem in the U.S. It probably shouldn't come as a surprise, since the government has been voted America's top issue 7 times in the past 10 years. So what are Americans not worried about? The environment was mentioned the least when it came to America's problems. And as for the morals of Americans, we're not concerned about those either. That came in second to last. Thank you for watching Straight Arrow News, where we strive to deliver journalism without agenda. I'm Kara Rucker from the heartland of America. We hope you have a great day.